Hello. So I wrote a book, and that book is the reason why I am making this video. Now, like the video is titled "Why Most Writers Never Finish Their Book." That is the same title of the book, and I actually wrote this book specifically for you. If you have ever struggled with completing your book, if you have ever struggled with getting the right ideas for your book. So many writers begin the journey of writing and they get frustrated in the long run. They get frustrated in the long run, and as a result of that, they completely lose interest. For some others, there are many other things that caused or that contributed to them not finishing their book. But I'm not here to tell long stories. I'm only here to give you some reasons why most writers, not some, I'm here to give you reasons why most writers never finish their book. So take your time and watch this video so that you will know where exactly the problem is and why you have been unable to complete that book you started writing since many years ago. Before I continue, I am using this space. I am not using my usual workspace. I am using this place because my baby, once he hears my voice, will start crying, and that might interrupt this video. So I'll be reading from the book, the ebook. I'm going to be sharing the lessons. I'm going to be explaining from my ebook, which is in this form. Why most writers never finish their book. So if you've ever opened your book in excitement and closed it out of frustration, grab your chair, get a book and pen, and sit down because we are about to go on a long ride. Number one, your unfinished manuscript has a problem. Yes, your unfinished manuscript has a problem. Let me explain. I started writing my book with so much excitement. The first time when I became a first-time author, I wrote my book with so much excitement that whoever saw me then would think that I had won the world. I would write and write, and in my mind, my book was going to become the bestseller. I already had this great vision that everybody will read this book, that this book is going to change lives. That was my imagination. My shoulder pads were already increasing because it's not easy to be called an author, and I looked forward to being called an author so much. But months later, that book was abandoned. The book was abandoned, and I was unable to complete that book. And I'm not the one who has ever experienced such a thing as this. There are many writers out there too who began with excitement. They started writing with so much zeal, so much passion. But along the line, something happened, and there was a frustration. There was something just came up in their writing journey, and they just couldn't understand what is wrong with that particular work, that particular manuscript. They couldn't understand what was the problem with that book, and as a result of that, they dumped it. They felt that my message is maybe this message is not worth it, this story is not worth it, this idea, this experience I want to share is not important, and because of that feeling, they just completely abandoned that book. But let me tell you the problem of your unfinished manuscript. The problem of that manuscript is actually finishing. There is a problem with finishing. You do not know how to finish. You do not know the continuation is a problem. And when continuation is a problem, finishing becomes a war. It is almost impossible. Finishing is impossible when continuation is a problem. So yes, you are going to ask yourself, these important questions to know why is your book not moving forward? Why did your manuscript, your writing, take a pause? What is the real problem here? When you are able to tackle the problem, you would know how to deal with it. Now, you should ask yourself these important questions, which are: what is your problem? Yes, what exactly is the problem? Why did you stop writing? In order to be able to face a in order to be able to overcome this aspect of not finishing your manuscript, you must be able to name the problem. You must be able to name the cause for the pause in the writing. You must be able to understand what actually happened that made you feel that your message is not enough. So you ask yourself questions. Also ask yourself, what happened to your ideas? Why did you stop writing? Giving honest answers to these questions will actually help you understand why your manuscript has been unfinished. Now, let me tell you, when I was writing my first book, I told you that I was already proud that I was going to become an author, and without pride in me, my shoulder pads were increasing, and but something happened, and that book was abandoned. When I finally went back to that book, I realized that continuing it was actually my problem. In what sense? I had my message, I had my ideas. I already knew that, okay, this is the message in this book, but I didn't know how to go about it. So that was my problem. I didn't know. I was honest to myself, and I reached out, or let me say a friend reached out to me and asked me why I hadn't completed that book, because I talked about that book, like I talked about it so much. And so my the friend asked me why I hadn't completed it, to which I gave an explanation, because I think I was scared of my ideas. And when I say scared, I mean scared in a way that this thing I'm trying to put out to the world, um, this thing I'm trying to put out, I was scared of maybe the critics or criticism. I was scared of maybe not getting good reviews from people. I was scared. That was my fear, and that fear made me not to want to complete that book, even though I knew that there was a strong message in that book. So she spoke to me and told me that because that fear made me start procrastinating on it. Because of that fear, I kept on procrastinating. Okay, I'll write it tomorrow, I'll continue tomorrow. But when she came and told me that there was no need of giving those excuses again, because it is normal to have people drop their criticisms on your work or whatever. It is normal for people not to view things from your perspective, because humans have different view on things, and it is normal. So I realized that those fear were not even valid. Those fear were out of my imagination, and I know it happens to many writers. So when she told me there was no excuses anymore, she became my accountability partner, and in less than 2 weeks I completed that book. So I knew my problem. So you need to ask yourself, what is the problem? Why did you stop writing that book? What what happened to the ideas? Did you feel that your ideas were too big, that you can't place them on paper? Are the words kind of heavy for you that you feel that if you put it out to the world, then you are going to be vulnerable? What exactly is the problem? I know that most people are afraid. Like if someone wants to share a story about his life, experience or something, you'll be scared. Why? Because you'll be vulnerable. It's like bringing a part of your life to the world so that they can come and read it. It's like exposing yourself to people, letting them know about yourself. So a lot of people have that fear that this because I want people to learn from my story, though do I necessarily have to let them know everything about me? And so because of that, they take a pause they are unable to finish that manuscript because they keep overthinking. They keep overthinking that what could happen, what could not happen, and all that. So give yourself an answer to those questions. Name them. Name the problem. When your problems have a name, it is easier for you to approach them. So yes, that is the problem of your unfinished manuscript. You have not named that problem. When you are able to name it, you understand how to go about it. I have shared my story, and I've shared my story. I got an accountability partner, and that was what helped me. So let's move on to the second part. So the second part is that motivation is not a writing strategy. So let me tell you, I used to follow all these motivational talks, especially on social media. You know, when they are motivating you and you are like, yes, yes, you are being pumped up. But after they leave, after the charge and everything, when there are no more motivational speakers, what happens? So yes, motivation is not a writing skill. It is not. It is the mistake that most writers make. Feeling that once they are geared up, once they are pumped up, once they have been motivated, then it means that they are going to finish that book. But you will fail to understand that motivation doesn't last forever. Yes, I will keep on sharing my first experience as an author. You know, when I posted that I was writing a book, I got a lot of wow, congratulations, because you know, as a writer, and if you write so well, people begin to tell you you are wasting your posts, you are wasting time by posting on Facebook, you are wasting time by posting your stories. Why not just make a book and sell it? People will read. You are a good writer, don't waste your talents on them. So when I finally told them I was writing a book, you know, they were motivating me to write a book. Now, you are such a good writer, write a book, sell it, all your stories, this, that. So when they, you know, when I was receiving those accolades, those motivations from my readers on Facebook, I was like, okay, it seems that they are ready to write, they are ready to buy my book. So I started writing with motivation. So yes, and that motivation eventually died, and the book could not continue because when there is no more motivation, when fear comes in, there is no more motivation. Motivation disappears. So yes, motivation will fade away, but you can start writing that book. You know, you get the idea, and it's so sharp, it's so powerful. It's a kind of idea that you should never let go. And you take up your notepad or your laptop and you are typing and typing and typing. You are having so much fun typing. You have written the outline. You have even gone as far as writing chapter 1, chapter 2. By the time you get to chapter 3, you realize that you need to put these words on paper the way it is in your head. You realize that it is hard work. Yes, writing might come to you easily, but at this point, you are writing a book. A book, an actual book that people will read, and the pressure that comes with it to make sure that this book actually comes out well, to make sure that the editor doesn't reject it, to make sure that your idea is as plain as it can be, so that people will understand. So yes, that's where the pressure comes in. And at this point, motivation doesn't. People would have even left you to do your thing. People would have left you to do your whatever it is you want to do. Just bring the book. We'll read. There's no more motivation. There's nobody. You can do this. You're such a good writer. At this point, there are doubts. Doubt is flying in. You're beginning to ask yourself, what kind of writer am I? Why is it hard for me to write out this particular thing? There's no more motivation. Here you are now carrying out researches on your topic to be sure that they are valid, to be sure that they are facts. Now you are this is where the real work comes in, writing it. And if there is no motivation, there is no if you are depending on motivation, sorry, there is no way that book is going to move forward. That is the problem many writers make. That is the problem many writers make. They rely on motivation. They wait until they are charged up. And you cannot always be charged up, because there are days when you feel tired. There are days when you feel emotionally burdened or whatever. There are days when you have a lot of tasks at hand, and there are days when those motivation do not even come at all. If it comes in the morning, it wouldn't last till afternoon. That is just the real fact. So if you are depending on motivation as your writing strategy, then your book will remain where it is, because when the pressure comes in, you will not be able to push through. You will find it hard to actually fight through the process until you are done with it. Motivation is not a writing strategy. Now, lack of motivation is what makes most writers not to finish their book, because they believe that they must be motivated before they complete, before they even start writing. And because if it doesn't happen that way, they lose interest in it. They feel that nobody believes in them. See, people believe in you only when you can successfully scale through the good and bad days, only when you can push through whether people are cheering you on or not. So you don't have to depend on motivation to complete your book. What you need is discipline. Yes, discipline is the right strategy. Discipline yourself. If you tell yourself you want to write a book in the space of 1 week, in the space of, let's say, 1 month, you need to have discipline. You need to be so disciplined that even when you just had a heartbreak, you can still go and write your book. I know that might not be possible, no, but I'm just trying to, even on the bad days, even on days when you feel weak, because you have disciplined yourself that this book must come out, this book must be a success, then you'll be able to do it. How do you discipline yourself? You give yourself time. You give yourself a timetable. How you intend writing that book in a week or in a month. How many words do you want to add per day? Create an outline for the book. The chapters, what are the titles for each chapters? Because having the title is going to help you. And you don't necessarily have to follow the titles like that. Subsequently, how would I say it? You can write chapter 1, and if the idea for chapter 2 has not come, you can jump to chapter 3, so long as you have given the title for each chapter. You understand? So let's say the first title of my book is winning, let's say, winning the war, and then the second title is weakness, and the third title is eligibility. I'm just giving an instance, and I've written the first title, which is winning the war, and because I've not gotten the idea for the second title, I can move on to the chapter 3, which is the third title. Do you understand? I can always come back. To that chapter 2 to write it. I don't have to necessarily wait to follow the order. Yeah. So you can write. You don't have to, because if that idea is not yet there, or if you have not yet made the right researches to make sure that your words are facts, then it might hold you back. And instead of allowing you to hold it back, you can push it aside, do other things, and always come back to it. So be disciplined enough to be truthful to yourself that you will finish this book in the space of the time that you actually set for yourself. Do you understand? Now, the third reason why most writers do not finish their book is because they are after perfectionism. And you need to understand that perfectionism is not the same as excellence. Perfectionism is not the same as excellence. This is the mistake that many writers make. See, when I was writing my book, I will go and read, I'll go and check other ebooks, and I'll see how so polished these books were. I'll see how the structure, the sentences, there were no errors. These books were perfect. And I'll go back and look at my book, and it was not giving. So I started comparing, and instead of me to now focus on actually quickly writing my ideas the way they were coming, I'll now go back. I'll go back and start editing. So let's say I'll go and check a paragraph. I'll go through a paragraph, and I'll start citing errors in it. Instead of me to leave it and just continue writing, I can always come back to it. But at this moment, I need to allow my ideas flow. I'll go back and start editing. I'll remove the comma. I'll put full stop. I'll say no, it's a column that should be here. And by the time I'm spending time to make sure that my work becomes perfect, the idea will just disappear, and I'll start struggling with getting back those ideas. In my mind, I thought I wanted my book to become excellent. Yeah, I wanted it to come out perfect. Yes, Mrs. Perfect. So I wanted that book to come out really perfect, and that was the mistake I was making, because this authors the author's book which I was going through, they did not write it perfectly at first. It was messy. Yes, the books were messy, very, very messy. They had a lot of errors, they had a lot of spelling mistakes, they had a lot of, their sentence structure might not have even been perfect, but they just wrote it as it was. They just kept writing. They didn't allow themselves block the ideas that was flowing in. They didn't block the inspiration that was coming in just because a comma was not where it was supposed to be. Do you understand? So perfectionism is not the same as excellence. These people who wrote it, it's a first draft now. It's not supposed to be perfect immediately. That word you are typing, that word you are writing, it is the first draft. And allow it to be as messy as it can be. Allow it. Yes, let there be spelling mistakes, let there be punctuation errors. Just write it the way it's coming to your head. Don't worry, just write. Just keep writing. Let the inspiration keep flowing. Because if you stop, if you take a pause and say, let me go back and go and remove comma, or let me go and add full stop, or you say, this sentence is not well polished, let me edit and change the sentence. By the time you spend time doing that, you'll find it hard to go back to that book to continue. Mrs. Perfect or Mr. Perfect, you don't need to do that. When you are now done with typing and writing, and the book is as messy as it can, when you are done, when you are very sure that you are done, you have concluded, that is when you can now go back and start checking the spellings, start checking your sentence structure. That's when you can now start editing. It is there you can even, your eyes will even be open to more things. It is there you can even say, oh, I need to add something to this paragraph, or I need to remove this from this paragraph. Then those authors, their books were not perfect. They sent it out to book editors, and it was those book editors that structured the book. It was those book editors that gave that book the final look that made it so brandished that I was now comparing my first draft with a book that was properly edited, a book that was properly refined. So I thought I was chasing after excellence. I didn't know that I was limiting the ideas. I didn't know that I was using my hand to pause inspirations, to stop inspiration from flowing. So you might think you are chasing excellence, you might think you are running after perfection, you want your book to come out in the best way, but no, that is the first draft. And I always say that let your first draft be as messy as it can be. That is the first draft. Allow it to be the way it is. Just keep writing. Yes, just keep writing. Keep writing. So after you are done, you can go back to the book. Then you send it out to the author's doctor. You send it out to a book or editor. Send it out to me, and I'm going to refine that book for you. By the time you now go through the book after it has properly edited, you'll be wowed. Now you can now go through other authors' book and look at your own and feel proud of yourself. So, but for now, stop going back to paragraphs to edit. Go and write that book. Go and write that book. This is perfect. Leave the fact that punctuations are not correct. Just leave everything. You can go back to it. Alright, so the number 4. The number 4 problem with why many writers do not finish their book is that many writers have so many ideas with no clear direction. They have so many ideas without any clear direction. So a client reached out to me some time ago, and they said that they wanted to write the book. And this client had so many ideas, and I was like, okay, let us move on. What do you intend? What message do you intend passing across? But there was a problem. This writer didn't have clarity. She wasn't clear on the particular message that she wanted to share. She had many ideas, but she didn't know which particular one. She wasn't clear. She didn't. So she was stuck. She was stuck. She was stuck. And that is the problem with many writers. Having so many ideas, but unable to be clear on the particular one. Many writers struggle not because they have nothing to say, but because they have too much. They have too much to say. They have too much to talk about. Their ideas are all over the place. So as a result of that, they struggle on which one exactly to put down. Do you understand? They struggle on what exactly to talk about. It's a struggle. Should I talk about A, or should I talk about B, or should I talk about Z? You know? They fight themselves inside. They don't know what to talk about. And so because of that, they are unable to complete that book. Because when there are too many ideas in a book, it can make you feel stuck. It can make you not know the next step to take in that writing. You might be so unclear on what should be the next chapter, because with your many ideas, you might just pour out everything in a chapter or in a page. Okay, let me tell you what exactly it feels like. So you have so many ideas. It feels like when you have so many ideas in one book, no doubt the number of pages will increase. No doubt your book will be voluminous, but the problem is that you wouldn't be able to find a way forward. You keep running around the same cycle. You find yourself repeating points over and over again, which is very unnecessary. Because why do you have to keep repeating a point over and over again? I once read a book where the writer kept on talking about one thing, kept on repeating and repeating that same thing in almost all the chapters. It will bore the readers. You see, ideas come easily. Ideas come easily to writers. I mean, we are writers, and ideas can come in at any time. It's not hard. It's not hard for a writer to have an idea. Even as I'm talking now, safe you that is watching me, you've probably gotten an idea on something. So, ideas come easily to writers. It's not hard. When one thought comes, begin when they just have a particular thought on something, the insight on that thought will begin to multiply. It will keep multiplying and multiplying, and that writer will keep getting ideas. And the more it multiplies, the bigger it becomes. One sentence, one single sentence like this can lead to another, and before you know it, there's a whole page. It's the reason why you can just say a word, and then it's the reason why you can just say a simple sentence, and the writer has made a long post out of it. It's the reason why you can say, I don't want to be where I was, and the writer is already giving you reasons why you should not be where you be. The writer is already giving a very long post on why this, why that. The writer is already giving you reasons. The ideas come, they connect it easily. Insight multiplies. So yes, and the problem is that with this so many ideas, many writers struggle. Yes, so ideas can come easily, but now they begin to struggle, especially when they are writing a book. They begin to struggle on which, okay, where does this idea fit in? Most of them go ahead and write all the idea inside one chapter. So when they have written all the ideas inside one chapter, they'll feel frustrated because I know you want to write a book on dealing with okay, I know you want to write a book on dealing with fear, but if you have poured out all your ideas on one chapter, what happens? You begin to repeat the same thing over and over and over again in subsequent chapters, which will eventually become boring. And because of this, the writer loses momentum. The writer loses momentum and start telling himself or herself that I don't think I can write this book. Oh, I don't think my ideas are perfect. I don't think this, I don't think that. So the writer just decides to stop writing that book. Now, I know that you need ideas to write your book, but your book must have a clear purpose. Yes, your book must have a clear purpose. Because if that book doesn't have a clear purpose, you will think that every idea should come into that book. So if you are telling us why we should deal with fear, your purpose should be centered around it. Every idea you are putting out should be centered around fear. There should be a particular purpose why you are writing that book. What particular message do you want the readers to leave with when they finish reading your book? What is the exact message? For instance, when I wrote my book, Wash Off My Dirty Face, which was my 5th book, when I wrote Wash Off My Dirty Face, I had just one goal: to help you deal with comparison and inferiority complex. And everybody who read my book came back to thank me because it helped them to build confidence in that aspect. So what is the particular message? What are they living with? What is the confidence they are living with after they finish reading that book? What is the core message? What is the main purpose of that book? You cannot tell me that you are writing one book for the whole. Um, you cannot tell me you are writing one book for everybody. You cannot say you are writing a book for children. That same book is for mothers. That same book is for adults. That same book. You need to. You cannot tell me that you are writing a book without having a target audience. Yes. So, who is this message being targeted to? So, who is this message being targeted to? What's the purpose? Who am I writing this book for? When you are clear on that, you'll be able to arrange your ideas properly. Your book doesn't need to answer all the questions in the world. It only needs to answer one question very well. It needs to give a proper answer to one question that is in the heart of many people. A lot of people are experiencing fear and they have a particular question in their mind. How do I overcome this? And so if you are writing a book on fear, you should have that answer in all the chapters of your book. It should come with a conclusion on that particular message, that particular answer. There should be a conclusion. The conclusion should be something that will always ring in their ears. So if you have so many ideas, understand that not all the ideas should be in that book. Some ideas might be needed for another book. Some ideas might just be for a post. Some ideas can be used for video creation, whatever. You don't need to fit everything. You don't need to fit everything. You don't need to fit everything inside that book. Do you understand? So I have a practical guide to guide you through understanding this thing I'm talking about. Now, you need to understand your book message. Yes, so you as a person understand your book message so that you don't have to draft too many ideas that are not needed inside one book. So first of all, you have to complete this exercise. Be honest to yourself. Number one, ask yourself this. Complete this sentence. This book helps the reader to do what? What? I'm sure you are writing this thing. Your book, the book you are writing, what does it help the reader to do? Okay, for me, this book, why most writers never finish their book, helps my readers to understand the problem behind why they have not finished writing their book. So you tell yourself, that book you are writing, what does it help your readers to do? One sentence is enough. Number two, define the reader. This book is for a reader who is struggling with completing their books. You define your reader. Your book, who is it for? What kind of reader is that book meant for? Do you understand? Now, step 3. If the reader remembers only one idea from this book, it should be that. If the reader remembers only one idea from this book, it should be that they must finish their book. So you tell yourself, don't write my own answers or write your own answers. So if the readers remembers only one idea from the book, what should it be? What should that idea be? Then, number four, you have to filter your chapters. Yes, you need to filter those chapters. So by filtering them, you need to do this. When you go through the chapters of your book, you ask yourself this question. When you go through chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter down to how many chapters you want, when you go through each of those chapters, ask yourself these questions. Is this chapter important? Because most times you might write a chapter that's not needed. So ask yourself, is this chapter, is it really important? Is this chapter important? Does it support the core message? Does this chapter actually support the core message of this book? If it does, good. If it doesn't, I don't see any reason why you should be in the book. Then ask another question, which is, does this chapter helps the reader gain more understanding? Does it help the reader gain more understanding? Does it help the reader to take action? If it helps the reader gain more understanding, then it should be polished. But if it doesn't, what is it doing there? If it doesn't help the reader take action, why is it there? If the chapter is just there for because you want to add something to the book, and which is not really necessary, remove it. You don't need it. You don't. Then you don't need too much. You don't need that book to be too voluminous. Let it be as light as it can be. When it is light, it will be able to fly. But if it is too heavy, oh. Now, the next thing you should do is make a simple decision. Make a simple decision. Tell yourself this and commit to it. For this book, I will focus on. So, now for me, I'm going to say for this book, I will focus on speaking to writers and newbie authors who are struggling to finish their book. And every other thing will wait. Yes, every other thing will wait. And for now, I'm going to focus on talking to my fellow authors, to newbie authors, to writers who are struggling to complete their books. Do you understand? So, tell yourself what you want to focus on and allow every other thing to wait. I know you want to share a story of how someone slapped you and how you held back, but it's not really important in that book where you're telling us how you dealt with fear. Do you understand what I'm saying? Good. So the fifth reason why most writers never finish their book is fear. To be honest, nobody really talked about this fear at all. The fear of publishing your book. The fear of putting out your books for readers to read. Nobody talks about the vulnerability. Nobody talks about the fear. Last year, I created a video series on how I was able to overcome the fear of publishing my book. I uploaded them on my Facebook page, and I will also upload them on my YouTube. But for now, let me talk about this fear. Nobody tells you about the fear that comes when you are alone. Such a very hard place to be. Very fear. When you are alone writing your book, just you with your phone or your laptop, there is a fear that envelops you. And if care is not taken, it's the reason why many writers just leave that book. Fear. It's hard. It's very hard. And this fear is not usually loud. It's not usually loud. It just creeps in quietly. It creeps in silently. It hides behind logic. It begins to sound. It tries sounding responsible. It tries sounding like it actually cares. And so fear begins to tell you, that fear begins to tell you that you'll be judged by your readers. Okay, in my book, this is what I wrote. Fear begins to tell you that you will be judged by your readers. It tells you that people will never understand you. I think I had that fear that nobody will understand my message. Hey. So it will come to tell you that your readers will judge you. Nobody will ever understand your message. It's making you feel like you are responsible. It will be giving you reasons as if it's actually those reasons are actually reasonable enough. That's what Mr. Fear does. Fear is going to tell you that your book does not matter. It now go as far as giving you it to begin to bring other similar books to that your book, and to tell you if all these authors that are very popular have written books like this, what do you think you want to write again? Why do you think your book matters? That is what Mr. Fear does. It will keep saying things to kill your confidence. And this fear, nobody really talks about it. It's more like you are alone. It's just you. And the thing is that this fear doesn't come before you start writing. You know, the initial excitement now. So you won't even feel that anything like fear can ever come, because the excitement will help you build confidence. But fear comes when you have actually started writing. When you have gotten to chapter 3 or chapter 4 of the book, that's when fear comes in. Because I told you initially that that's where hard work starts. And so that's where fear comes in and begins to tell you this message says that you want to pass out. Is it necessary? This thing that you want to talk about, Holy Spirit, Shebi Kenneth Hagin has already talked about it. So what use is your own? Fear begins to bring reasons why you should not talk about what you need to talk about. Fear begins to tell you that your work, your words, your message doesn't matter because someone else has already written that same message, written about that same topic. Fear comes when you have already started writing, when your ideas have already been exposed on paper, when your ideas have already been exposed in words. That is when fear comes in. Yes, writing a book is tedious. Writing a book means exposing your ideas to the world. It means that you allow others to see what exactly goes on inside your mind. You allow others to take a walk into your inspiration, to take a walk into your ideas, to take a walk into your imaginations. And it's exposing, yes. And it also means that your readers will understand you in ways that you will not imagine, because everybody has their own way of understanding. And so the way your readers will understand your topic is different. It's in ways you might never imagine. Yes, so you are exposing this book to different people from different backgrounds with different sense of reasoning, and so fear will begin to tell you that there's no need. Should you expose your book to different people who may not even reason the way you do, who may not even think the way you do, who are not even from the same background as you? So Mr. Fear begins to give you reasons why you should not write that book. And when fear sets in, you begin to doubt yourself. Fear will begin to tell you that it's better for you to hide your thoughts. There's no need. Just keep your thoughts to yourself. If you bring out this, if people see that this is the way you think, they'll look down on you. If people see that this is the way you think, then they will not take you serious. That is what fear does. So it now gradually tells you to pause, just stop. And many writers listen to this. When it gets to this stage, it's a struggle for many writers, and The problem is that this is where most of them back out. This is where they back out. This is where they listen to Mr. Fear. This is where they pay attention to everything Mr. Fear is saying. Here is where the problem is. But this is what I want you to do. You need to chase Mr. Fear out of your life. You don't need to allow Mr. Fear dictate for you what you should do. No, you should not allow fear to control you. It needs to be under you. You need to put it under your feet. Yes, you need to put it. You need to be the one to control it. Fear should not have a place in your decisions in your life. So this is what I want you to do. Even though fear might not leave you, even though it might be around the corner, don't pay attention to it. His voice might be ringing, loud or silently. Don't pay attention to it. Mr. Fear can come in form of the people around you telling you that what do you think you are doing? This thing you are doing is not gonna make any sense. This thing you are writing is unnecessary. And what do you say? Which kind of story are you telling? If it's people that have seen you finish, they'll say, see this one, she says she wants to write a story about herself. Who is she that? Who is she that is her story even reasonable? That's what Mr. Fear will do. It will now start using people to scare you, to put you to pause, to make you stop writing. Even if the fear is present, don't even pay attention to it. Don't even do as if you are noticing it. Don't even give it that attention. Don't. Just keep writing. Even if it keeps ringing to you that your message is not important, tell it that you know your message more than it does. You know your experience more than that fear does. If someone comes to put that fear in you and tell you, see this one, what does she think she's doing? What do you think you are writing? This thing you are writing is of no benefit to the world. You face that person and tell them, it might not be of any benefit to you, but I know what I have written. Do you understand? My message is powerful. If I can get healing through my message, then definitely somebody will also get healing through it. So you won't scare me. I won't allow you. I put you at my back. That is what you should do. You keep writing. Just write that book. With time, the voice of that fear will be silenced, and you'll find out that you have even finished that book. Do you understand me? Another problem why most writers are unable to finish their book is that they are confusing writing with editing. Now, this might also be similar to the perfectionism I talked about. Writing and editing at the same time doesn't work. It doesn't. So you might say you are writing a paragraph, and then after writing it, you now come back to that paragraph and start editing it. You start editing, you start changing the sentences. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Um, this is another way of stopping you from completing your book. This is another way of stopping you from completing your book. You are editing too early. It's too early for you to start practicing editing. You need to write. Many writers will sit down to write, and instead of them to actually focus on that writing, to go and start doing the work of an editor. And to them, they'll feel that they are being productive. What they don't know is that they are limiting the potentials of their book. They are limiting the ideas because they are beginning to edit when it is not the right time to do so. I've already talked about this in area of perfectionism. You might feel that your work is improving, but you don't know that you are killing the momentum. While editing is good, while editing is what actually makes your book stand out, you should take time, calm down, just calm down. Do the calms. Just calm down. Just calm down, calm down. Don't rush into that process. Don't rush into editing is a different phase on its own. Editing is a different process on its own. Writing is the first. Editing is another process. You don't have to mix the two together. You don't have to mistake writing and editing. It doesn't work like that. Write first. Write. Just keep writing. Then you can come and edit later. But if you are writing and editing at the same time, you will definitely lose interest in continuing. Do you understand this? So, allow your word to exist. Allow your words to exist first. Give your words a chance to be brought to reality. And after that, after your words have existed on paper, on your tab or whatever, then you can now go back to start editing. But if you're editing while writing, you write now, you come back and start editing, you are wasting time and you are stopping yourself from actually moving forward in that writing, in that book writing. Now, the next reason why most writers never finish their book is that there's a missing system. Yes, they don't have a good writing system. Last year I had a prospect who came to meet me that he wanted to write a book, and I was like, okay, put up a system in place so that we can be able to complete this book. But this person never put up that writing system, and they never completed that book. I don't know if they have now, but then they never did. They never completed because there was no writing system. There was no working system. As a writer, you must have a working system for your writing. Take writing as a serious task. Take writing as something that is of great importance. Have a system. The way you wake up in the morning, have your bath, dress up, eat and take breakfast, or for some that do not take, you dress up, you wear your shoes, carry your bag, you go to work. You have a system, you have things in place. You have the exact time you want to wake up. You have the exact time you want to leave the house. You have the exact time you arrive at your place of work. That is a system. Do the same for your writing. Do the same. Do the same for your writing. Have a working system. And when I say working system, I do not say you should start forcing yourself to go beyond your limits. No. Every day, what do you intend to write on this book? What is the system you intend following in order to make sure that this book comes out successful? That is what I mean by saying you should have a working system. Most writers do not have working systems, and that is why they can just wake up today and say, okay, I'm going to write a book today. By the time they start, the next thing they are scrolling through social media. The next thing they get distracted watching reels, cracking jokes, or discussing. They forget what actually brought them to their phone. They forget what actually brought them to their laptop, because there is no system. But when there is a system, you'll be able to stay disciplined and focus on that work. Be able to stay disciplined and focus on your book. So yes, have a working system. Have a good writing system. That is what is going to help you complete that book. Now, this is how a writing system works. You have to first of all break your writing into manageable steps. You have to, first of all, break your writing into manageable steps. Yes. How many chapters do you want to write in a day? How many chapters do you intend writing in a day? Um Plan your chapters and start writing. When you have planned the chapters, it will help you to be able to focus on writing the chapters. Do you understand? Then, in that your writing system, tell yourself that you will focus on writing. You are not waiting for perfection. You are going to focus on writing. You are not going to edit. No, editing can come later. You are going to focus on writing. In that writing system, give yourself time. Give yourself time. Do you want to write for 30 minutes? Do you want to write for 3 hours? Give yourself time and focus. Do you want to take breaks in between? How many minutes breaks do you want to take? Give yourself time and focus. That will help you. Because if you don't set certain time for what you want to do, you will not have focus. You will not be able to stay disciplined. I believe that when we set goals for ourselves, it helps us to stay disciplined. So see your book writing as a goal that must be achieved. Do you understand me? See it as a goal that must be achieved. Understand that it is of great importance that you set writing systems that work. Don't make sure that it doesn't clash with other important activities. Put it at a time when you know that it is something that you must achieve. It is something that is achievable. Have a schedule for your writing. Have a writing schedule and make sure that this schedule works for you. When you have a writing system that works, it gives you direction on your book. It gives you direction on the message that you want to pass. Then also, do not rely on motivation alone. I have told you that motivation will not last forever. Even motivational speakers they have their down times. Motivation will not last forever. Motivation will fade away. So you don't have to always rely on motivation. You don't need that. You do not need to rely on it. Discipline is what you need. Discipline yourself. This is what I mean by having a working system, a writing system that works. Do you understand me? And now you can learn the skill of actually finishing your book. Writing is a skill that needs to be learned. And from the beginning of this video even till this moment, I have told you ways in which you can finish your book. I have told you the mistake that many writers make that has made them unable to finish their book. I have told you the problem of many writers, why many writers never finish their book. I've told you. So as a writer, you need to learn the skill of finishing. You need to learn how to stay. You need to learn how to stay. Stay deep. Stay in your writing. Stay in it. Do not back out. That is the way you finish. And that is where victory comes in. True victory lies in when you are able to fight through.